Hello friends. It had been a long time since we have interacted with each other because of the present COVID-19 pandemic situation. Indeed, it was my desire for the last 4 weeks to have a one-to-one communication with all my dear students, which was not somehow possible because all of you were busy with online classes as well as with midterm examinations. First of all, let me thank you all, students, for having a patience in the changing scenario, as well as the faculty who has contributed a lot during this lockdown period. Indeed, when I was asked by somebody, how do you feel about the lockdown situation in an education scenario, it reminded me of a very old movie, Hollywood movie rather, in which we were back in the caves, somewhere in some another planet. The only communication was the wireless communication or satellite communication. And the next generation, which was in a ship which had reached that planet, wanted to learn many things even though the brains were advanced. The communication was through the earth, from earth, and the teaching was going on, and the skills were developed in the minds of individuals who were there in that planet as well as on the spaceship craft. In fact, we are also living in such kind of a situation right now. We are at various remote locations. We are not in touch with the most of the human environment. We are confined to limited spaces. We are supposed to perform in such circumstances. I would like to quote at this moment that whatever the physical energy we are unable to dissipate, energy is an energy. We must convert into the mental energy. Keeping that thing in mind, converting it into the mental energy means that we must perform far better than what we were initially performing. I understand my students are doing very well. The response to online classes as well as to the online examination system for midterm, but we have to go ahead in this kind of a situation. The scenario is not so bright, and the path of this pandemic situation is not short. That we all understand and is simultaneously unpredictable. When the things are unpredictable, we need to create an environment in which unpredictable situations can be converted into a predictable outputs. How this can be done? So this is a situation for all the students and the student community across various institutes, including mine, that they must perform in such a way that the output is well recognizable, the output is well measurable, the output is well appreciated. When I say measurable, appreciated, I mean that the learning has to be shifted from a simple kind of learning to a skill kind of a learning for all of us. In fact, it has given an opportunity for all of us to explore the horizons of IT world, how IT best can be used, how IT best can be implemented in solving many, many complex problems. Indeed, it has also given us an opportunity to understand, to solve the complex problems in an environment rather I say virtual environment. When I talk of virtual environment, let us create a virtual environment at both ends. At the place where your lectures are being generated, whatever the quality and methods is there, wherever the knowledge is being generated by your faculty, and wherever you are absorbing it. I presume that you are getting the best of what was possible in the present scenario. What was best possible in the present scenario. There may be many lacunas, there may be many shortcomings, but as we proceed together, we will be able to solve these shortcomings. We will reduce the gap of these shortcomings. Going back to the basic issue of pandemic, going back to the issue of teaching, going back to the issue of learning, I think this has given us an opportunity and a time when we can really exercise our mental power to understand what is teaching and learning, rather than mere exercising the concept of physical presence. This kind of teaching gives us the mental existence with the learning. Future is going to be quite different. The future is going to be quite different because in the future we are uncertain, and how the things will proceed, we have to plan accordingly. But Madhav Institute of Technology and Science Gwalior has put up a plan to see that the students of this institute doesn't suffer. Keeping that thing in mind, we have taken a couple of decisions and put in black and white certain milestones. Few milestones are like this, like all the students must be able to learn. When I say learn, means that in case they missed any lecture, they are unable to understand the knowledge content in online teaching was delivered, they can contact back to the institution. There will be separate sessions for them, which we call under the remedial classes for the next 2 to 3 weeks. We have also taken into consideration and thought of starting the internship for the students of second year and third year. Also keeping in mind the role of third year students and the fourth year students, we will be shortly starting, most probably by 18th, we are starting the internship programs online for the third year students, as well as finishing school courses for the final year students who will be passing out this batch. Situation and the things will keep on changing day by day. We will understand things day by day differently. We'll try to solve the problems the way they come, but the patience is the most important thing we need to keep in our mind. The patience is most important thing we need to inculcate in our system, structure and thinking. Keeping that thing aside, what the government agencies, what the regulations are talking about. Let's speak about little regulations. The regulations, UGC guidelines, which have said that for the intermediate semesters, there can be an average way of marking for this current semester, for average marking of this current semester, which will depend upon two factors. Number one is that the marks we have obtained in the previous semester, or the grades what you have obtained in the previous semester, 50% of that and 50% of internal evaluation, which is currently going on and which will go on in this semester. Keeping these two things in mind, and for the benefit of the students, what we foresee that so maximum of the students get advantage of learning and getting the correct awards for their knowledge what they have gained, we plan to have an additional mid-semester or additional online examination also, where the students can cope up those who couldn't get in the initial marking good marks. They can go ahead for the last, which we may call it the end semester online mid examination, and they can be average, but it will be an internal. So 50% from the internal and 50% from the previous semester, and average together will be the passing criteria or for criteria for moving into the next semester in the academic session. We are committed to start the semester as per the UGC guidelines. For the old students, that means those students who are here from first year to third year in the month of 1st August, and for other students from first year, they will be in the month of September, those who will be joining this year. Final year is another buzz game. For the final year, we are planning to have the end semester examination in the same pattern what we used to have till last semester, that they have to come to the campus and appear for the examination. They have to come to the campus and appear for the examination, and which we plan somewhere in the first and second week of July, looking at the situation and the conditions of the COVID-19 by that time. We will give an ample time to the students, but students must be mentally ready, especially final year students, that they have to appear for end semester examination in the first to second week of July. Well, there are many ideas have come to this educational fora, that how to manage the education system, how to look about the education things, how the future of education. I foresee the education in a different way. The regular kind of a teaching what used to be in the past will not be there. The guidelines for teaching will change. Technical education will automatically be of different nature. We will have to use the maximum tools of engineering and as well as the IT tools, so that best can be given to the students. We also plan, keeping in that thing in mind, we also plan that to start an advanced semester for the students. When we start an advanced semester for the students, we will go for online teaching of all the years, please note it down, for all the years from 15th of July onwards, so that the students waste minimum time. They can study at home, learn few things and more, and the applied part of that can be covered later on. Educational scenario as such in the country and across the globe will change definitely. Teaching will not remain the same as we were thinking. Learning will not remain the same as we were thinking. There is going to be high level of learning. There is going to be many attributions to the learning. There is going to be many attributions to the teaching also. I foresee that online courses will have a larger space in the curriculum. I see online teaching will have again the larger space in the curriculum. I see more skill development projects rather than the kind of projects which we are doing presently in technical campuses. I foresee that examination pattern is going to be changed, and it must change. I foresee that the examination of 3 hours may be 1 hour now, because you have to learn how the teaching has been properly done, because the ultimate aim of education institutions is to assess the teaching learning processes, When I say teaching learning process, means what is the outcome of this? How the students have been skilled about the learning. Coining that together, that skilling and learning has to be inculcated in the minds of each one of us, whether we are teachers or whether we are students. There have been many questions which some of my colleagues had been asking, some of my friends have been asking, that do you think that the institutions will close? Institutions never close. Institutions will keep on running, but the way and the pattern of education institutions will be different. We may have more faculty across the globe now. We may have more faculty across the globe teaching at a small, remotest places in the country. We may have more exposure to many things which are going across the globe. We may have more exposure towards learning the technology and using the technology for the benefit of the mankind. I am sure that students of Madhav Institute of Technology and Science Gwalior are all committed, along with their faculty and staff, to face the challenge of the future, to face the challenge of the nature which has come across to us in these bad times, or we can say epidemic times. But one must understand this is a testing time for all of us, not in terms of the physical attributing, but in terms of mental. We must keep calm. We must try to understand more. As far as the student community is concerned, you have got now a lot of time to learn, improve, and to learn and to improve. You have got ample time to inculcate the habit of reading, inculcate the habit of having different kind of senses, understanding those senses and using them in engineering education and in experimentation of the engineering education. I'm sure and confident that the student community across the country and the globe will face this situation with a greater strength, and at the end of the day will be able to defeat such situation which we are facing right now, or may face in future in some different form or in some other status. I wish my friends, young friends, my colleagues, a great time of lockdown. I wish they keep a great family bonding, develop a great family bonding. These times will not come again. I wish you stay safe, stay blessed. May God help us all. Thank you all.